Prime's exclusive wildcard playoff game is Saturday night. Jordan Love and the Packers take on Caleb Williams and the Bears. Not a Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game.
That's going to be caught for the touchdown.
NFC North rivals square off in the latest chapter of the NFL's oldest feud. The Packers and Bears in Prime's exclusive wildcard playoff game. Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Only on Prime. Sign up for a 30-day free trial today. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
Martha listens to her favorite band all the time. In the car, gym, even sleeping. So when they finally went on tour, Martha bundled her flight and hotel on Expedia to see them live. She saved so much, she got a seat close enough to actually see and hear them. Sort of. You were made to scream from the front row. We were made to quietly save you more. Expedia, made to travel. Savings vary and subject to availability. Flight inclusive packages are ATOL protected.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Hey, good evening and welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. Now your host, Ace.
Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. We got Ace and Malik today.
Yo, what's going on, man?
You know what? We finally got through the holidays. We got into a new year, so Happy New Year to all the listeners. And
yes. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, happy holidays to everyone. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And football season is finally over. The regular season was a weird regular season, to say the least. And it's now getting ready to jump into what I think is going to be a pretty exciting playoffs. Because I don't think there's a juggernaut in the entire field.
well,
On either side,
there's
honestly.
one, and that's the Chicago Bears.
Okay. As the resident Bears fan, on this podcast, I expect you to say that. But I will speak for the rational NFL fan and say
The best team, I think, all around, legitimately, is like it's the Rams, right? Because they actually have the best defense and the best offensive numbers.
see, but the fact that you had to say that, the fact that you framed it,
Well,
in a
it's the
question,
Rams or it's the Jags, actually, as crazy as that sounds.
But again, the fact that you frame that in a question tells me what is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like there's no team where, last year when we went into the playoffs, last year the thought was obviously with the Lions, being the number one seed, but with their injuries and everything like that, the thought was with the way Philly was playing, it would have been a shock if Philly didn't find their way into the Super Bowl. And then, of course, KC was KC. Mahomes, they had won 2 straight. So, expectation of them going to the Super Bowl, like there was this kind of expectations around that Super Bowl. And the fact that like Philly and Kansas City had played each other, relatively, like 2 years prior. So
Yeah, to a very close game.
yeah. So going into this, like even a team like Philly, who's the defending Super Bowl champions, they haven't seen themselves all year. And every other team, that's been, on the lips of, the majority of the people talking about it, Ravens, Chiefs, they're not in it. Even the Lions, they're not in it. So it's like the expectation going into the season is that there are a lot of teams that are in this right now that people didn't expect to be in the position that they're in. Not to say they weren't expected to be in the playoffs, but at least not in the positions that they're in heading into this. So
I think
it really is a toss up to some degree.
To that point, what would be the most shocking matchup in the Super Bowl then? What would be the what would be the teams that you have the least faith? Well, actually, I know that answer for the NFC. I don't know that answer for the AFC, because if Carolina wins a game, they've won the Super Bowl. But if they literally make it to the Super Bowl, people are going to be like, okay, this is a script, because this makes no logical sense.
If it wound up being Carolina, Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
That would probably be
yeah.
the most shocking Super Bowl unexpected shocking Super Bowl. But I mean, but it would be a great story, right? Because in order for Carolina to get to the Super Bowl, first off, they have to
Oh, you
play the
missed it.
Rams. They have to play the Rams, which you just said probably the strongest team on the NFC bracket.
Yeah. Well, wait.
Um,
They got to play the Rams off top too. Yeah.
yeah, they put the Rams on top. I mean, and the expectation is that they'll lose. So, in order for this, I would say this, in order for Carolina to get to the Super Bowl, we probably have to see the ascension of Bryce Young into like superstar status as a quarterback. And so I think it would be a great story just because of that, right? Somebody on the Panthers would have to play out of their minds in order for that to happen. And so I think if that story happened, and then on the Steelers side, obviously we'd be talking a lot about Aaron Rodgers and his Mike Tomlin and just kind of capturing old glory.
Yeah.
So I think it would be an incredible story, but yeah, that would probably be the most shocking of any of them.
Carolina's currently to that point. Carolina's plus 15,000 on DraftKings to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're 10 and a
And
half
they're in the
point favorites.
playoffs.
They're 10 and a half point underdogs at home in the playoffs. They're hosting this game and they're 10 and a half point underdogs
That is
going into
correct.
this game. So we haven't even got to the spread yet.
That's insane. That's insulting. Like we're already in the tournament. How you going? How you gonna have us at plus 15,000? The Colts are plus 12.
Man.
How's that? That doesn't make any sense. This has to be for next year, right? This has to be next year's lines. I'm on coverage.com, who I use quite a bit, but
Okay.
that's insane. No, that can't be right because there's other teams that aren't in the playoffs that have lower odds.
Have higher odds.
Yeah,
Higher
like
odds than them.
Tampa Bay. I'm like, wait, that can't be right. All right. Coaching carousel. The
Yeah.
Mike McDaniels or Daniel?
McDaniel
is now out of a job a day after they said he was going to be involved in the GM search, which is hilarious and shows how well run the Dolphins are.
I mean, I think it might show. I mean, and we'll see if it actually winds up coming to fruition. But I think it might show the fact that, like, when we told you that you still had a job, that was before we found out that there was potentially a better guy out there that we could get. And
that's the thing. Do you really think he's a better coach
than Mike McDaniel? I don't know that he's. I don't see his. That's a good question. I don't know that John Harbaugh is a better coach. I just know he has a better pedigree, and by virtue of having a better pedigree, it's going to hiring John Harbaugh will do well for you at least for the first couple of years in terms of fan interest and just overall optimism about your organization. So where he may or may not ever win another championship.
That's kind of the point of hiring him because he makes a lot of money.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But even though he may not win another championship, if you're the Giants, if you're the Dolphins, if you're, Atlanta, he's going to help legitimize your program at least for the next couple of seasons. Like,
yeah.
And I think that's worth it from the perspective of a team of a team like that.
Okay. Right.
But yeah, so just kind of going into it. I mean, you mentioned all the firings that happened. So basically, we've got Baltimore, with John Harbaugh. We've got the Giants who fired Mike Daboll, who fired Daboll,
during the season.
Brian Daboll. We've got the Browns who fired Kevin Stefanski,
2-time coach of the year. That's right.
We have the Tennessee Titans who also fired their head coach in the middle of the season. That was Brian
Callahan. Yeah.
We have the Las Vegas Raiders, who fired Pete Carroll.
Mr. Nepotism. Had both his sons working on the offense. The offense was terrible.
Yep, we have the aforementioned Miami Dolphins. Uh, who else? Who am I missing? Uh, did I mention? Yeah, I said
There's seven head
Giants.
coaches. So you mentioned Cleveland. We mentioned the Dolphins. We mentioned Baltimore, the
Yep,
Giants, Carolina. Not Carol. We did mention. Forget to mention one. Arizona.
Arizona.
Cardinals
Yes.
fired Jonathan Gannon, which we knew was going to happen. I said was going to happen after he grabbed up the running back who fumbled, Emery DeMarcado, I believe it is.
Yes. Oh, and Atlanta. That was the
Oh,
eighth one.
and the Atlanta Falcons fired Raheem Morris, which
Yep.
and the GM, so they need to get both, and so do the Dolphins.
Yep.
Oh, they missed a field goal. They traded missed field goals in the VRBO Fiesta Bowl. Nice.
Miami, Ole Miss.
Miami Ole Miss.
Um,
The U is back. Not
so
exactly.
which of those eight do you think is the best role? I won't, I don't want to, I guess I don't know if you want to rank them one to eight
Well, I can give you,
or
yeah, no, I got them real quick right here for you. I think
okay.
I do. The best one I think would be who has a quarterback, which is the Giants, and they have some defensive talent, and they have a high draft pick again. So you already got a starting quarterback in Jackson Dart. You got Abdul Carter, and you got another pass rusher who's actually good, who's not named Abdul Carter, who had 12 sacks this year or 13 sacks this year, and Brian Burns. So I would say the Giants is the best job, which is interesting because who already turned it down? The head coach of Notre Dame.
Freeman,
Already
yep.
like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna stay here in college where I can keep meeting these expectations by just winning 10 games, even if I don't make to the playoff. They love me
And
here,
I can still
and
and
I
I
love
can
fire.
continue saying it's not my fault, right? It's not my fault.
Exactly.
My fault they
Hey,
want to keep me
the
out.
committee screwed us. We should have been here. It is what it is. Even though you lost your
Um,
two best games all year, but realistically, he could, if he wins a national title, he will get another chance to become an NFL head coach. So someone else will mess up in 4 years. He'll win a natty, and then he'll come back and do that. So it's be the Giants. It would be the Raiders because they have the first overall pick. Um, some of their players are pissed with them, mainly Max Crosby, but they also have a bunch of salary cap space. And you have a bridge quarterback in Geno Smith, so you don't got to throw your rookie out there right away if you want to take Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore and say, hey, kid, I get it. You were just in the national championship game last year, or you won the Heisman in Fernando Mendoza's case, but you're going to sit behind Geno Smith. He's been a backup and a starter in this league, and he's been to the playoffs a couple times, and he can show you what's what.
okay. Um,
The third would
Go ahead.
probably be the Dolphins. They have a rich owner, and people want to be in Miami. And Tua may be bad, but apparently Mike McDaniel, turned him into a quarterback that took you to the playoffs and led the league in passing. So you're not devoid of talent, and you get to live in Miami. And they're going to overpay for you because they need a coach and they need you to be competent. I would say the worst situation, or actually, I would say before then, I would say Tennessee. They also have a quarterback in Cam Ward who won 3 games in spite of his head coach. So you got that.
Okay.
Then Miami. Then the bottom three would be Baltimore. You have to be perfect. Baltimore actually is the most pressure. You have a MVP quarterback, but that defense is bad. That defense is bad, and they're paying them, so they're not cheap. They don't have a bunch of cap space. The salary cap is going to go up by 25 million next year, so you'll by default have $25 million. But decisions are going to have to be made, and you're going to have to figure out how to get better offensive linemen out of nowhere. And pressure to win the Super Bowl is like number one off top. So you get fired in 2 years there. So if Lamar don't fuck with you, you're going to be gone. Like, that's just what it is. Then the worst two jobs would be the Cardinals, who stink and don't like their quarterback. The fact that they won as
Yeah.
many games as they did is amazing, but they're also in the toughest division currently. And then the worst job is, I think it's kind of goes unsaid, it's the last team left. And I believe that is the Cleveland Browns. You have the best defensive player in the league, but your quarterback that everybody wants you to play is Deion Sanders' kid. And guess what? He's good. He's just better than the guy you drafted in the 3rd round. But is he a starting level quarterback that can take you to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl? I don't know. I don't know if he can win 9, 10 games. he seems to be as good as Aaron Rodgers is right now, but Aaron Rodgers is also 41 years old. And he doesn't really play in structure, and they don't really have a great run game. So maybe there's some things you could do to make it better. And I also don't have a number one wide receiver. But hey, the Browns will have a bunch of high picks. You know, you've already gotten out from under all. Oh, and also Deshaun Watson still has 1 more year left on his contract.
Yeah, but you'll at least if you're stepping in, and that's kind of where I was like headed with my thinking about the position, right? I think that the two things, and it's funny because to me they're diametrically opposed to one another. But if I was a coach, trying, thinking about the opportunity to potentially, and I had my pick of any one of these teams, um, the first thing I would want to think of is obviously job stability, job security, right? Which in the NFL we know there is none, and you can literally get fired after one season.
Correct.
But for the most part, the assumption is that if you're successful in the first two seasons, you probably buy yourself, and by successful,
At
I
least
mean
three more.
obviously, yeah, obviously depending upon what position the team is in when you get there. If you're taking over the Raiders, who are the worst team in the NFL
Usually
record
they'll give you
wise,
3 years,
you
unless you
might be
pull
able
a
to,
Josh
yeah.
McDaniel.
Well, I'm saying if you're taking over the Raiders, who won like what, 2 games this year, 3 games this year? I don't know.
And the third one was the last game of the season, which
Yeah,
people were kind of upset that they won because, had the Jets. Well, actually, they couldn't fall from number one.
yeah, they still locked it in. But if you're taking, what I'm thinking is if you're taking over the Raiders, then what is a good season for you? Maybe 7 wins next year,
Six.
maybe 6 wins, 7 wins, versus taking over uh the Ravens, where the
Yeah.
expectation is literally playoff run.
It's the moon.
Right.
No,
I
not
won't say
playoff
Super
run.
Bowl.
It's AFC Championship game.
Well, I won't say Super Bowl because I think as a first year coach, you'll be expected at the very least to get them back into the playoffs, which they weren't in when they fired, John Harbaugh, and you know, challenge for for the conference, right? So you find yourself in the AFC Championship game, even if you find yourself losing in the divisional round in your
Mm-hmm.
first year as a head coach. I think that that's okay, especially if you're able to work with your, superstar quarterback. So I say
Crazy.
all that to say,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard. Like I said, you kind of want to walk into a situation that you can mold, but you want to be successful out the gate. So that's
Yes.
why with those two things, I kind of agree with you, but my thinking is that the worst job, in my opinion, is actually everybody's thoughts of being the best job, and that's the Ravens.
Oh, I didn't, but I had the Giants
Because
number
no,
one.
no, no, I know. I'm
Oh,
just saying,
okay.
like everybody else has been like, I've been, reading blogs and reading
Oh no.
articles, and everybody's talking about the job of having Lamar Jackson. But to
I
your
agree with you.
point,
It's kind of like to that point in college. Your team is LSU. They hired Lane Kiffin. You left a school that's Mississippi would love you forever. They don't even need to go to the type championship game. This is the best team they've ever had since I've been watching college football.
right,
They're 13-1. He goes to LSU. If he doesn't get there again in like 2 years, they will
right,
fire this man.
and unlike
If you don't
Lane
win,
Kiffin
if
at
you don't get to the
LSU,
AFC title game with the Ravens, to your point, they will be like, did we hire the right person?
and unlike an LSU with Lane Kiffin, you're not going to walk in with the ability to just kind of make wholesale changes in Baltimore. You're not going to be able to walk in and be like, I think we should go a different way with the quarterback. like you're going to walk in there expecting to make big things happen with Lamar Jackson as the quarterback and, work with the high priced guys that you have. And granted, they are some, incredibly talented guys, but if you have any ideas about, changes that you're going to make to this roster, you're kind of hamstrung about that. So yeah, for me, the worst job would be Baltimore, just because as a new head coach, I feel like I've got very little control over the structure of the squad, and I'm expected to compete almost immediately.
And
To
also, they have no pass rusher.
Yeah, right, exactly,
And they
exactly.
drafted two. And that guy that was a steal did not turn out so hot.
To that end, the job that I think is the best job that I think that you didn't, I don't know if I think you went down the round, but
The
maybe you
Giants.
went through all of them. The job that I think is the best job is actually Atlanta. And the reason, and
Mm.
it's a similar
I
reason
think I got
to,
Atlanta as the worst.
huh?
Atlanta's the worst because it's the Falcons.
No, but see, that's what I'm saying. People are like, oh, because it's the Falcons, it's the organization. But because it's the Falcons,
Yeah.
this is the type of environment similar to Buffalo, similar to Jackson. Like they
Small
love
market team.
it's a small market team and they absolutely love their football. And if you play if you are able to compete with compete here in Atlanta with the Falcons, they will support you.
Yeah.
Like, and I like Arthur Blank as an owner. They have some pretty good talent,
Isn't it crazy that he hugged that man and then fired him two
and
days
then
later?
fired him. Exactly. Yeah. He just like my belief is that when he came in for the hug, he just told him just smile for the cameras, just smile for the cameras. Like,
That's all right. We're gonna pay you your whole severance. Lump sum even.
um,
We got it.
but I genuinely like. I mean, we've talked about this. We did this in the beginning of last season, the beginning of this season. The level of talent that they have acquired in Atlanta over the course of the last few years, especially on the offensive side of the football,
Yeah.
has been nothing short of remarkable. They haven't been able to put it together, but if you can come in there as somebody that can bring that, can take that, elevate that offense to a level that it needs to be, identify maybe the situation at the quarterback position, if Michael Penix is your guy, or if you need to go to somebody else and make things happen. I don't think you're This is a team of the Falcons who haven't been to the Super Bowl, haven't been to the playoffs in a while. Their only Super Bowl appearance, the only two Super Bowl appearances have been like the worst losses in the history of just about any franchise. Like you want to,
In the Super Bowl, I don't know. I mean, the
I
Bears
mean,
one was pretty bad, but we were up
but
during that
if
game. But
but the Bears have at least won,
yeah, we've been twice.
right? You've been twice.
And we're one
They've
of the
been
oldest
twice.
teams in this. Well, the only team that would be worse, I guess, would be the Cardinals. They went once, and then someone had a 99-yard interception return to
Yeah,
basically essentially seal the win.
but Atlanta's been twice.
And then you lost that game
They
also on the
got
last second touchdown in the corner of the end zone too. That was also
Yeah, but
oh wait, no,
but
it's a different game.
Arizona again. Arizona was a team that was the expectations that high. They were a 9-7 football team that made a miraculous run and lost to a better Pittsburgh Steelers team.
All
In the
right.
end, Atlanta's been twice.
Hmm.
The first time they went, they had no. I mean, they got boat raced by the Broncos. Um, and were supposed to have no business beating, they had that Cinderella run and they got smoked by the Broncos where they didn't even have a chance against John Elway and Terrell Davis and those guys. And
Yes.
then you got the 28-3, right, against New England, So to
Which
me,
people have had tattoos made and put on their body.
exactly.
Yes.
The Falcons have been down bad as an organization for so long that I feel like coming into there just showing a modicum of some competency there, I think will absolutely, and because of how this city gets behind the Falcons when they're good, I think it'll immediately give you the charge. And I think you have a little bit of leverage to make some changes. And I don't think there's a lot of changes that need to be made. So I would say the Falcons is the number one job, the Ravens as the last job, and the other jobs just kind of float somewhere in the middle. But I do agree with you on the Shador front. I think there just isn't enough talent in Cleveland to really expect anything beyond, and I think you have to make a decision about Myles Garrett.
Atlanta is letting him restructure his is letting Kirk Cousins restructure his contract. He finally is like, all right, I'll give up the last 45 million. He's made enough money.
Well, yeah, so they can cut him.
So they can cut him and also so he can sign on with another team.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to help him. Maybe that he goes to Arizona, whatever. Or maybe he goes to a different team. He's not going back to Minnesota. He's not going to Washington. I don't know who's going to take him or who needs a QB bad enough. I can't think of a team off the top. Or maybe he ends up in Miami. I don't know. And they just go the Kirk Cousins route. It didn't seem to help Atlanta when he got out there. Right? They got weapons. Whatever
No,
team
it didn't. But remember, he was coming off of that Achilles injury. He was
that was
literally
last year.
Yeah, you talk about when he got there last year.
No, this season. I'm talking about this
He
season.
didn't. I mean, he didn't play horrible.
No, but for
This
what
year
he
with
was going to want, he's
Team.
going to want the starting job, and he's going to want $45 million and probably like a 3-year deal.
If he, I look, if Kirk Cousins, I mean, I guess it depends on how he plays and how he throws. But if Kirk Cousins expects anything other than an opportunity to compete for the starting job, a la Joe Flacco, this year, if he expects anything based off of his performances in the last 2 seasons, if he expects anything other than that, anything more than that, I think he's a little bit. I think he's being disingenuous to himself.
Okay.
Um, so if I'm him, hey, I'm not saying don't take the money. I'm saying, hey, walk into the situation, understanding that this is an opportunity for you, and maybe you and go get yourself an opportunity to go make a roster
Kirk
and then
Cousins has
see where
made
it goes
more
from
money
there.
playing football than Tom Brady has.
Exactly.
Just playing football. Brady's making more money
Exactly.
talking about it now. He's bad at that, but we don't care because it's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But the point is, I don't know. I forgot why I even got on this, but the worst job, I don't know. I believe it's Atlanta because they have Bijan Robinson. They had a rookie quarterback who's got a bad knee and he hurt it again. They got Kyle Pitts. They got Drake London. They can't win more than 8 games. They lost to the Jets. All they had to do was, if they had beaten the Jets, not only would the Jets have the number 1 overall pick, they would also be in the playoffs. That one game back in like week 9 or 10 or something, they win that game. Jets number 1 pick, and they're in the playoffs.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think the Atlanta job, just because I think the optics of that Atlanta position is better, and I think that the talent is really good,
Yeah,
at
it
least
is.
for the next 3 years.
But also, you have Michael Penix Jr. and no other quarterback. And if you bring in a veteran, I don't know if people are going to be okay with bringing in Jacoby Brissett if he's a free agent.
He's always a free agent.
So or you're going to have to figure out what, because they're trading Kyler Murray. They're out of the Kyler Murray business. Now, I don't know where he goes, but he could be your answer, Jets fans, if you don't want to, you know, if you're willing to move that and figure it out. Damn it, he threw a pick, but he got tipped.
The only thing about Atlanta is I don't think they
Mm.
have a first round pick this year.
Even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah. They don't have a
Even
first round pick this year.
worse. That's terrible.
I mean, they have picks, but they don't have a first rounder.
Oh, yeah, but okay, fine. But I don't even know. After John Harbaugh, who's the next best coaching candidate? Does Mike McDaniel get a job? Does Brian Daboll get a job again right
I
away?
would be I would be surprised if Mike McDaniel got a job right away, a head coaching job right away. I think his future's in being an OC. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Flores got a look.
Well,
What
we
he's
have
done
he's
in
suing the league, so
Minnesota,
we'll see. Or is he just suing the Dolphins?
I think he's just on the Dolphins. But I think
Uh,
just after everything that he's done, what he's accomplished in Minnesota has been, pretty impressive. And, with that defense. And yeah, he's a well-known commodity that had head coaching experience before. I don't know of any hot names out there that are like would be first-time head coaches. That's the thing about it. Definitely John Harbaugh is the number one,
Let me
but
float
I
this
don't hear
out
any
there. Okay.
hot first-time head coach names being
Yeah.
floated around there. So that's my thought, is like it's probably going to be somebody that's got some experience.
Super hot take. Lane Kiffin was an NFL head coach. He
Yeah.
doesn't even stay in college. He goes back to the Raiders.
So he
Or
doesn't. So wait, he doesn't coach at LSU.
he
He
doesn't
like
coach it down at
rescinds the job at
LSU.
LSU.
He fucks y'all over. He goes, hey, baby, they're offering me 15 million, and it's a pro job. I don't got to do none of this recruiting. I don't got to go to no golf tournaments or charity events. I'm good, and I get to be. Oh, Atlanta hires him. Atlanta hires him, or the Giants hire him. Which actually, that's not going to happen. The Giants have already said they're not going to hire him because reunited with Jackson Dart. But the Atlanta Falcons go, come on, Lane, come on down. We like you. We like your style.
That is the hottest of hot takes. I don't think Lane Kiffin's leaving LSU.
All right. All right. Or,
But
as crazy as it sounds, Nick Saban comes back to coach the New York Giants
that would be crazy.
or the
That would be
Baltimore
really, really
Ravens.
crazy. That would
Would
legitimately be crazy.
would the Ravens try to hire Nick Saban?
I don't think Nick Saban's gonna coach.
He said if he coaches in the pros, he wants a quarterback. Now
I
he has
don't
a very easy job, but you got Lamar Jackson.
I don't think Nick Saban. I like Nick Saban. I think Nick. I mean, I like
Do
Nick Saban
you?
as a coach. No, I hate Nick Saban as a man. I like Nick Saban as a man. I hate him as a coach. Sorry, I just flipped it the other way. I think Nick Saban, if he goes anywhere, if he goes back into coaching, and if he coaches with a pro team, I just don't think it would be a team like the
Ravens, though.
Falcons or the Ravens.
The Ravens make sense. The Falcons, no way. But the Ravens make sense because you got the quarterback. Now we just got to figure out everything else. You got a quarterback. Zay Flowers is the number one receiver. You appear to have a very good
Yeah,
two tight ends. You just got to find another receiver and some defenders. And you know what he knows? That man knows defense.
he does no defense and he knows running games, and he'd have Derrick Henry. Didn't Derrick Henry? Derrick Henry would, yeah,
He played
he
for
went to
him.
Bama. That's right. He did
Reunite
play for
Derrick
him.
Henry. He probably should have recruited Lamar, but hey, he was a little short sighted. Now he gets to coach Lamar in the pros. Instant Super Bowl.
I don't
Crazy
think it would happen.
expectations. And if anyone can handle it, it could be him.
I don't think it would happen, but you have the hottest of hot takes as it pertains to that.
Yeah,
So we'll see. We'll see.
just saying. All right, let's get into these games.
Yep. So to start, we have the Rams going to Carolina to face the Panthers. This game is going to be on Saturday the 10th at 4:30 on Fox.
They don't
Um,
expect
this is
anybody to watch this, do they?
this is the first, yeah, this is the first game of the slate. I mean, they probably do because it's, Matt Stafford and he might be the MVP, but the
Yeah.
Rams are 10.5 point favorites on the road. Over under is 46. The Rams are minus 625 on the money line. The Panthers are plus 450 on the money line.
I'm betting them for sure. I'm definitely
What
betting Carolina.
what's your thoughts, Ace?
I'm betting Carolina money line. I shouldn't. It makes no sense, but they beat them already. They beat them
They
at
did.
home
They
when they were
did.
like 12-point favorites then. And I said, oh, I'm taking Carolina. They're going to cover. They're not as bad as people think. And they have a defense. Miss it. Yes. Oh, he bounced it in. Damn. Thought he was going to miss another one. Sorry. Carolina's going to cover this. They're getting 10 points at home. They're not going to lose by more than 10 points at home. Bryce Young and Tedero McMillan are good enough. They got two really good running backs, Enrico Dowdell, and their defense is much better than people think, which is why they're able to go 8-9. And I like the fact that they backdoored their way into the playoffs, and a lot of people are upset that they're even in. They're like a losing team should never get in, and two losing teams have made it ever, and one of them won, and that was the Seattle Seahawks, and that was Marshawn Lynch. But I think Bryce Young was first overall pick for a reason, and Rico Dowdell is really good, so we'll see.
I'm not gonna pick
But
the
I'm gonna take
pick
them.
the
I'm gonna take my 10.5
You're
points.
taking the
That's for
points,
damn sure. I'm gonna take the
and
points.
that I think makes sense. Carolina has played a little bit better. Carolina has played some relatively closer games over the last few. Over the last, they lost by 17. Excuse me, they lost by 17 at home against Seattle in week 17. But prior to that, there was a 3 point win against Tampa, a 2 point loss against Tampa, a 3 point loss in New Orleans, and again, like you mentioned, that 38-21 win at home against the Rams. So, and they were 10 point dogs in that game. So, if nothing else, I think just on the line itself, you can take the Panthers to cover. Money line, I'm definitely going with the Rams. I think the Rams win this game outright, but I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina put up a good enough fight to keep it within the 10.5. So I would take the Ram. I'm sorry, I would take the Rams to win straight up, but I would take the Panthers to cover the number, and I would take the under because I feel like the score here probably if Carolina's going to cover, the score stays low, and that
Really?
defense is able to. Yeah, I don't think Carolina's going to score on the Rams. I think
Okay.
if they're going to cover that 10.5, I think that the score trends closer to somewhere like around 23-16, something along those lines, and they're able to cover because they're within a score at the end of the game, and the Rams figure out a way to sneak out with a victory. Um,
Now,
and leave
does it
there.
matter to you that when they beat the Rams, it was 31-28, and they
Yeah,
were getting 10 points again, and they were at
yeah.
home?
No, that doesn't matter. I mean, I
Okay.
don't. You've heard me say this before when we conversations. The playoffs are a different beast.
And it
Playoffs are
was
a
late in
different
the
beast.
season. It wasn't like this wasn't
Yeah, it
some,
was week
early season
14, something like that.
fluky game.
Um, and they hit the over. As a matter of fact, that the over under in that game was 45. They actually hit
Yeah.
the over in that game. Now the get over under in this one is 46. I don't think that game plays the same way as this one. I didn't watch that game. I, admittedly didn't watch that game, and I haven't seen a replay of it, but I probably will before Saturday. Um, but I don't. The playoffs are different. I
Okay.
just say the playoffs are a different animal. I don't expect. Again, I expect the Rams to win the game. I don't expect them to cover that number. I think that number is a little bit too aggressive, and it's coming off the heels of the Panthers, kind of to your point, backing their way into this spot. So
Yeah.
I would take the 10.5 in a heartbeat.
The only team to get in by losing.
All right, the second game. This is your game, Ace.
Oh yeah.
Saturday night,
Guess what I'm
8
taking?
p.m. Amazon.
I
The
feel like that's an
Packers,
insult.
the 9-7 Packers, 9-7-1 Packers, going to Chicago for the third matchup against the Chicago Bears. The third matchup in what, 5 weeks? I think this is now.
Yeah.
You guys have played each other in the third time in the 5 weeks.
I would have rathered
Um,
San Francisco, but hey.
Split the season series. Green Bay won this game in Green Bay. You guys won in shocking fashion at the end of the game
Yes,
in
we did.
Soldier Field.
Broke their
Jordan Love did
hearts.
not play the vast majority of that second game. That was the Malik Willis game
He
that
was
you guys came
concussed.
back and won in. But he looks like he will be back. He hasn't played. Has he played since then?
No, he is
Yeah, I
not.
don't think he's played since then. And Green Bay's lost three straight, um, and had pretty much backed themselves into the playoffs. If not for some, well, sorry, they lost four straight, and backed themselves into the playoffs.
And Micah Parsons is hurt, unfortunately,
And
for them
Micah
as
Parsons
well.
is out for the season. So the over/under on this game, sorry, the Packers are favored by one. The
Such
over
BS.
the over/under here is 44.5.
Yeah.
Packers are minus 118 on the money line, and the Bears are minus 102. So it's basically a pick 'em from Vegas's perspective. But who do you got?
Taking the Bears. This is disrespectful.
Of course. I don't even know that.
If Chicago could beat Philadelphia like they did on Black Friday, I believe Philadelphia was a better team then than Green Bay, and I think they're a better team now than Green Bay. They had a much better defense, and without Micah Parsons, they are a better team. So if Chicago can beat them, they can beat Green Bay, and they're at home. And weather's not going to be a factor because these are two cold weather teams. But their quarterback coming back from a concussion, we don't even know if he's super healthy. We just know that he's cleared concussion protocol. People want Malik Willis to start because he's like, hey, he's not that bad. If he wasn't so bad, why hasn't he won a game?
Well, not this season. He won like three last year.
Yes, but this year is when they needed him to win a game,
Yeah.
and he has yet to do that.
I could have
Okay,
sworn.
and also also like to point out, Green Bay lost to Carolina at home this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're telling me Green Bay is all of a sudden going to get up because it's a rival and it's the playoffs? No, they don't have it. They don't have it. Whatever it is, they don't got it. Malik Willis, they lost the last four games of the year. They put up a good fight against Denver. They lost to Chicago. They got blown out by Baltimore. And then they got their doors blown off by Minnesota. Had they won two of those games, they wouldn't even be playing Chicago. They'd be playing a different team.
Yeah.
But they're not going to win this game. I don't see them. I don't. This actually is the most uneven. And the reason why they're doing this is because it's a first-time head coach, but he's been in the playoffs before. And the quarterback and him are in tune. And more importantly, the Bears are getting two of their offensive linemen back. They're getting two of their defensive backs back. So I think it favors Chicago. They're getting healthy at the right time. And if they get on a hot streak, maybe they can go and make a run to the NFC title game. That is my highest expectation for them.
So both of these teams are riding losing streaks. The Bears lost their last two coming into the end of the season, and as I mentioned, Green Bay lost their last four coming into this game. So somebody's gonna extend their losing streak, and somebody's gonna get off the pine. I tend to agree with you here. The Bears are obviously at home. They're very familiar with this team, of course. They're very familiar with this organization. It's a division rival. Like all the things to me that lean themselves to being a benefit or a plus in the space for a team is what the Bears have here. I think this is probably the best overall matchup they could have had given kind of where the Packers are, but also just given the familiarity that they have with the Packers. I mean, Ben Johnson, to your point, like yes, he has not been a head coach in the playoffs much, but he's played the Packers a bunch in the last few years, and he knows them pretty damn well. And he does not, and obviously he does not like LaFleur in that organization. So, this is the perfect opportunity for him to go and exact some revenge against them and, really just and kick them out of the playoffs. So, yeah, I tend to lean, and then just because the number is so low, the number is 1.5 here. So, you're really just kind of hedging on who do you feel is going to be the better team. And the main piece for me here is Ace
Yeah.
the Bears have been a very good fourth quarter team.
Yeah.
So far, especially recently, even though they did lose the last two games, those games got really interesting in the fourth quarter. And the game that they won against Green Bay 3 weeks ago, that game, they got on their high horse and got that done in the fourth quarter as well. So I could definitely see this being close all the way through and getting to the end and the Bears being able to squeak one out with a last second field goal that gives them the win. So I'll take the Bears and the under again. I don't know what the weather's looking like in this game, but I think I'll take the Bears in the under. Yeah, 25 degrees, probably no precipitation, but it's going to be cold.
Perfect.
And these two teams, they play in the cold, so I don't think that's
Yeah.
going to favor either one of them. But yeah, I'll take the Bears in the under.
First home
All
game,
right, next up. Oh, go ahead.
first home playoff game since 2018.
That's right.
But being on Amazon, I don't know, it feels janky to me. And I get it's Amazon and they're gonna make it look really good and make it feel special, but I want this on regular
Still
TV.
feels,
Feels weird.
yeah.
Maybe I'm just an old man for saying that, but I don't like it. I don't like it.
Next up, Sunday, 1 o'clock. The Buffalo Bills go to Duval to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is another close line. The Bills are -1 right now on the road. They're 12-5, and they're heading to Jacksonville's 13-4. And the over-under is 51.5 in this game. Both teams are -110 on the money line as of right now. I'll go first on this one. I like the Jags so far. I think the Jags have won, what, five or six? 8 straight games. The last time they lost was in Houston in November. So they have not lost since the middle of November. They've been a extremely difficult defense. And they've done just enough on offense to not, Trevor Lawrence hasn't made the big errors, hasn't made the big mistakes, and he's put his team in position to win. And the Jaguars have relied on some really really good offensive talent. I mean, good players along both sides that they've been able to acquire over the course of the last couple of seasons, and they put it together to the tune of 8 straight wins. I think that the Bills are ripe for a beating here. I think the Bills are ripe to get beat.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen has a good game, the Bills play a good game, and lose a game on the road against a good Jacksonville Jaguars team. I've watched the Bills this year
Mm-hmm.
lose, you know, lose to Philly at home,
Yeah.
lose at Houston,
Yeah.
lose at Atlanta,
Yeah.
uh, and lose in Miami in like epic fashion. Like these are not games that any one of that they had any business losing, and these were all games on the road. So to me, seeing the Bills go on the road and lose a game against a really good Jacksonville team would not be that shocking this year. I don't think the Bills are a juggernaut squad. And the 1.5 points here just has me leaning towards Jacksonville and riding this Duval wave with them being able to hold ground at home. So I'm gonna take the Jags. I'll take the Jags in a high scoring game, and I'll take the over. I think the over is the best bet here, but I'll take the Jags and
Okay.
I'll take the over.
All right.
Give me a point.
I'm taking the Jags. Bills defense is atrocious. It would shock me if the Bills won this game because the Jags can run the ball and they've won 8 games in a row. And I don't know if they're anybody's sneaky pick to win the Super Bowl, but they're my team from the AFC to get there. I don't trust Sam Darnold. I don't trust Seattle, but they're in the NFC. Uh, the Jags should win this game, and I don't think there's much pressure on them. They got bashed, a better team when it came to the Chargers last time. They overcame a 21-point deficit. I don't think the Bills are going to get up on them like that. Josh Allen can do a lot, but he's not Superman. And he's going to have to be in this game for them to win, him and James Cook. But the team knows that. I just don't trust their defense. I just really don't. And Trevor Lawrence has been playing like even his mistakes have been working. So we'll see if it works. But yeah, I got the Jags winning this one. I think it's only close because everybody just believes in the Bills and nobody believes in the Jags.
Yeah, I think so too. All right. Sunday, 4:30 on Fox. San Francisco 49ers, 12-5, head to Philadelphia to take on the 11-6 Eagles. The Eagles are -5 in this game. Over under is 44.5. 49ers are plus 190 on the money line, and the Eagles are minus 225. This feels weird because I don't think that the Eagles are 5 points better than the 49ers, but what do you think?
Mm-hmm. I think the San Francisco 49ers are really hurt. And I think that last game really messed them up. Their defense is down to their third string middle linebacker. Fred Warner might play, but it's quite possible their defense is just super hurt. And Philadelphia is going to win this one by a touchdown because their defense can just be able to stop them. Or San Francisco's defense cannot stop Philadelphia, I should say. They should be able to run the ball. That shouldn't be a problem for them. Jalen Hurts plays amazing in the playoffs. They're at home for 2 games. They should be all right. Or they're at home for at least 1 game, so they should be okay. So I'm leaning Philadelphia. But it's the 5 points that make me want to pick San Francisco, but I'm leaning Philly. And I know I've picked all the home teams so far, but I think, yeah, I think most of the home teams are going to win. So I'm leaning towards Philly.
I lean Philly to win the game. I don't lean them to cover. I think this number is just a little bit too high, and I think Philly has played probably the ugliest 11-6 season I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it's just been a very, very ugly year for them. And I don't expect it to get any prettier just because they took week 18 off and didn't start anybody and ate that loss against Washington. The prevailing theory here seems to be like, oh well, they rested their stars in week 18 last year and they went on a run and made the Super Bowl and like yeah, that was last year. That's not this year. This team is not the same as they were last season. Saquon's not the same. Jalen Hurts hasn't played great. You still got the AJ Brown situation kind of hanging out there. He's not reading books, but he's tweeting and playing Madden online and complaining about his game time, telling people not to pick him on fantasy, which damn it, I wish I'd have known that at the beginning of the year. Um but yeah, there's a lot of that is still a lot of the noise and a lot of the drama is still going on around that team and that organization. And San Francisco, coming into the season, we knew that they were going to play a really good schedule that was going to be beneficial, to them, and they've taken full advantage of it. And I completely agree with you. I think that all the injuries will eventually catch up to them. And
Yes.
they probably have caught up to them to this point, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I think they can score well enough against this Philadelphia Eagles defense to keep it within the number. So I'm going to take the San
Mm,
Francisco 49ers to cover the number. I don't necessarily think they'll win the game, but I do think they can cover the number. And 5.5 points just feels like a bit much for me with the San Francisco 49ers team that we know can score
yeah.
and an Eagles team that has not shown the ability to consistently score over the course of the season. So I'll take the 49ers and give me those points.
We believe they can score. We just don't trust that they will. And the fact that San Francisco has a better record than this team, even though they've won 11 games, the NFC East was pretty bad all year.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
All right. Sunday night, 8 o'clock, Chargers 11-6 go to New England, to Foxborough, to play against the New England Patriots, 14-3, the 2 seed in the AFC. Probably the most surprising 2 seed that I can imagine in the last few years.
Yeah.
I think coming into this season we picked the Patriots to be the first or second best team. Like I think some of us picked them to be the second. I think one of us picked them to win the division. I can't remember. But we definitely didn't pick them to be 14-3.
No.
And the second and the number 2 seed in the entire AFC coming into these playoffs. The over-under here is 46. The Patriots are 3.5-point favorites. Patriots are minus 200 on the money line, and the Chargers are plus 165. Ace, what are you thinking?
I like the Chargers, and I like the Chargers because they sat a lot of their guys in week 17. And I think that having a more experienced quarterback and a better defense should help them. Pats have no pass rush. I don't think that they're not going to, like, the Chargers have their offensive line isn't healthy, just point blank, period. But the Chargers, the fact that this game is 3.5 lets me know that people who are betting on this game also don't trust New England. They beat the Bills, but then the Bills came back and beat them. And the past couple of games, the run game has just been insane. That's not going to happen against the Chargers. The Chargers have a really good run defense. The Chargers beat Philly. The Chargers beat Kansas City. Now, maybe Kansas City's offense was just off the whole year, and we just, gave them more credit for beating those teams during the regular season. But I like the Chargers, and I like the Chargers because they're getting 3.5. I think if New England wins, I think they win this by a field goal. Everybody thinks this game might be a blowout, but the game that I think could end up being a blowout could be Philadelphia or actually the next one, which we'll get to. But I think the Chargers, that hook is giving me faith, and I want to take the Chargers. I want to take those points. And I live in New England, and people hype about this game. But I don't know. I don't trust them. Just don't.
The interesting thing here is I think what came out was I saw a meme that came out of this. The combined win percentage for all the teams that the New England Patriots played this year is the worst in the NFL. It was 391, I believe it was. So
That's
they
low.
they statistically had the easiest schedule in the NFL.
Okay.
So that said, this is a team that has grown exponentially over the course of the season. And yes, they've played they have not played a murderer's row of opponents over the course of the year. But you hear me say it all the time, guys. You play who's on your schedule, and I said that about the Bears. I said that about any team that finds themselves in a good position at this point in the season. You can only play who's on your schedule and who's there. And they've played them and they beat them and they beat everybody soundly. 38-10 against Miami in week 18, 42-10 against the Jets, 33-15 against the Giants, 31-13 against Tennessee, like early in the season. So, when they got the opportunity to play against teams that are inferior to them, they don't just beat them, they bludgeon them. Because of that, I agree with you on the Chargers covering this number. I think the Chargers are a very, very good team led by a very, very good quarterback and an extremely good coach. They defend well. Their biggest issue is like they stub their own toe. They get in their own way. They make big mistakes. And New England may be able to capitalize on some of those mistakes. But I think that this game plays very close to the number all the way through. It's a difficult matchup for New England. Excuse me, and the Chargers keep this game close. So I'm gonna take the 3.5 points here and roll with the Chargers to cover the number. If not, win outright. I might lay, $20 on the money line since it's at plus 165. If you could still get plus money on the money line in this game, I would take it. if you're a Chargers fan, but I definitely like the 3.5 points. So I'll take the Chargers and I'll take the under in the game.
To your point about the Patriots, the teams that they lost to are Las Vegas, week 1 at home, Pittsburgh at home, 21-14, and the Bills at home, 35-31.
So they've lost 3 games at home. That's interesting.
All their
They're
losses are
undefeated
at
on the
home.
road. Oh wow. Okay.
All their losses are at home.
Yeah.
Okay. And they almost lost to Atlanta at home, 24-23, but Atlanta missed an extra point.
Yeah. I'll give a pass to them. I'll give a pass to them on that Raiders one because week 1, you just never know week 1. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, the Houston Texans heading to Pittsburgh to play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Texans are 12-5. They did not win their division. The Steelers at 10-7 did win their division, and that's why this game is in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh are 3-point underdogs at home in this, and the over-under in this game is 38.5. Now the Texans, the money line is Texans -70, the Steelers +140. Now the Texans, if I'm not mistaken, are also on a really, really hot streak. They've won like 8 games in a row or something along those lines coming into this week.
9.
And their defense is legitimately scary. I'll go first to here. Will be my last pick. This game can get really, really ugly, really, really fast. I think that the Texans beat the brakes off of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's my belief.
That's your pick, huh?
I've watched a good amount of Steelers games this year. I don't think that the Steelers they're not an explosive offense. They don't push the ball down the field. They try to take advantage of a lot of short area passing and, Aaron Rodgers dissecting the defense and getting the ball out of his hands quickly. The level of aggression that the Houston Texans play with, the level of speed that they play with on that side, on that defense is not going to be conducive to a lot of yak. They're going to make the plays out there. And because of that, if Pittsburgh does try to, push the ball down the field a little bit and try to make plays down the field, well, now you open yourself up for, Will Anderson on one side, Danielle Hunter on the other, headhunting Aaron Rodgers, who cannot move and already has a broken, non-throwing hand. So I just don't know what, to me, the best weapon on the Pittsburgh Steelers is Kenneth Gainwell, who catches all of his passes within like the first 5 yards. And then, DK Metcalf, who's coming off of a 2-game suspension, has not played in a couple of games. So I'm sure he's healthy and ready to go.
Well rested.
But he's never been the most dependable receiver, as far as his hands are concerned. So I don't see how Pittsburgh wins this game. And I think that the Texans, despite, them being on the road in this one, I think they're very comfortable playing in just about any situation, any environment. That defense is going to travel. So I'm going to take the Texans to win this game outright. They'll cover the number, and I'll take the under in this game.
Yeah, I only have one lock this week, and that's the Houston Texans. Pittsburgh shouldn't even be here. The kicker for the Baltimore Ravens missed a field goal, which is why the coach got fired. And the crazy part is, had he made that kick, maybe we talk about Mike Tomlin getting fired. Mike Tomlin, he knew it was a loser leaves town match, and they lost, so he is now out of the match. It's crazy. Pittsburgh is not a better team. The only reason they're any good is because it's the only reason why they're in this situation is the guy missed a field goal. The kicker missed an extra point. They're going to be under a lot of pressure against Houston. And guess what Aaron Rodgers can't do? He can't run. Okay. He hasn't been able to run all year. As evidenced by that. That's why they were able to beat the Patriots, because the Patriots don't got a pass rush. Pittsburgh is going to have to protect him somehow. I don't know how they're going to do this. But Arthur Blank and that offense is so simple. Houston, this could get real ugly real quick. They could win this game 20-5, but they will win this game.
Yeah.
And somehow they'll get a safety and a field goal, but then they'll just give up 2 touchdowns to 2 field goals. That's how the 20-5 will come to be. I'm going to take the under. But also, Houston did blow out Baltimore this year at Baltimore. When Lamar was there, when they were struggling, they beat them 40-10.
Yeah, I remember
So
that game.
this could go 40-10. Who knows? It could be all over the place, but this would be the most shocking outcome if Pittsburgh comes out and not only wins, but wins by a lot. Because that would mean that CJ Stroud is having an awful game and a bunch of turnovers. Rodgers won't turn the ball over, but if he gets sacked more than twice, it's over for them. They got problems.
Yeah.
They got problems. So if he gets sacked upwards of 3 to 4 times, that means he's not even dirting the ball so he doesn't get hit. Because he's still playing with a broken bone in his wrist. I think people forget that. So he falls the wrong way. I'm not even joking. Like, it's legitimately over for him. Whether he's 31, 38, whatever, like, it could go badly for him. So we will see. But I have all the faith in the world in Houston, and CJ Stroud seems to be getting better and better throughout the season, and they've won 9 games in a row. Like, we all thought that Indianapolis was going to do it. We thought Houston was fading this year. Houston's a better team, and I thought they should have beat Kansas City last year, but they're not at home, and if they win this game, I think they're going to end up playing, they'll probably be the lowest seed left, so they'll probably end up playing the game that
Denver.
we really want to see is Seattle. Not Seattle, huh?
Denver. They'd go play Denver.
We're going to see them go to Denver and play Denver, and that will get interesting.
Yeah.
That will get interesting.
6-3.
Yeah. 9-6.
All right. So Ace and I both have the Panthers cover. Just to kind of recap, both of us have the Panthers covering that 10.5-point spread at home.
I got the Panthers money line too.
Oh, and Ace has the Panthers money line.
Yeah.
We both like the Bears getting a point against the Packers at home on Saturday night.
That's mainly due to injuries. I'm not just being a homer. That legitimately is due to injuries.
We both like the Jags also getting a point on Sunday afternoon against the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
Ace and I differ on the 49ers and Eagles game. Ace likes the Eagles, right? You like the Eagles? Yeah. Yes. Ace likes the Eagles. I just like the Niners to cover the number. We both like the Chargers to be the road, to go on the road and upset the Patriots. And we both really like the Houston Texans beating the snot out of the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football, and you know taking the Tomlin and his guys out.
Who are the Niners playing?
The Niners are playing in Philly. That's the Philly game.
That's the game that I like a lot as well because how injured they are.
Yeah,
genuinely. Like if those two, if I'm going to parlay 2 games, it's going to be Philadelphia and Houston.
I could see that. Again, I could definitely see the Eagles winning. I'm only picking them to not cover the number just because of how ugly they seem to play football.
Prop bet of the week, Saquon Barkley over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown.
I don't even know if that's a prop. I think there's a prop for him to be like it's not 100. I think what I just saw earlier was over 79.5.
So if you put it, you can raise it on certain ones. You can put it plus 100 rushing yards, and it'll probably be like plus 220 or something. I'd say. Mm-hmm. I can check that right now. But yeah, you were saying something. But that is my prop.
No. I was just saying that was 79.5 is what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing now in terms of prop bets on Sportsline for Saquon. Yeah. All right. So that's it, man. We're watching basketball. We're enjoying some basketball right now, but the NFL playoffs is underway. We're in the swing of it. Teams are gearing up, and the other teams are figuring out their coaching situations, their OC, DC situations, GM situations, and getting ready for the for draft season, which will be upon us sooner than we think. Because I can't just hit the 2026, and I'm already seeing information about the combine. So it's crazy to hear that. All right, before we roll up out of here, Ace, you got any shout outs you want to give?
Yes, I'd like to say shout out to Caleb Williams for getting 3,900 yards, being 52 rushing yards away from finally getting the first 4,000-yard passer. Shout out to these refs who are calling it both ways on the Fiesta Bowl and finally calling a flag on the pass interference that's been going on all game against Mississippi. I refuse to call them by their chosen name. You know why that is. You know what y'all did. I can't even believe that y'all are here. But hey, it is what it is. Shout out to my Knicks who bounced back yesterday, beat the Clippers, a good Clippers team, I would say, who's kind of, getting their stuff back together and struggling a little bit. And just shout out to the NFL season and everybody and Shador for finally getting a win at the last game. And shout out to Miles Garrett for getting the sack record. I love that for him. And he took the money and he may not play in the Super Bowl, but he's making it work for him. He's making it happen. And and shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for whatever monkey's paw they've used, I've been saying all year, to get to this record with no quarterback and a really good defense. They're trying to Peyton Manning way, but who knows? Maybe they'll pull it off. I don't know. I've been talking trash all year about them. I still don't believe in their quarterback, and everybody seems to agree with me, as does Vegas. They're the number one overall pick, so that defense will just have a week to get healthy, but Sean Payton's going to have to figure out someone on offense, and you can't just onside kick it anymore whenever you want. So we'll see.
I agree with you there. No, I definitely agree with you there. The Sam Darnold situation in Seattle, they just don't seem like neither one of these number one seeds going into this playoff seems like a real like if they lost in the first game coming out of this, it
We wouldn't even be shocked.
Wouldn't be
if they
surprised.
play Houston and lose to Houston. We'd be like, well, yeah, they got no quarterback. Of course not.
Yeah, it's not like an injury situation like Detroit last year, where like literally the half of the half of the defensive starters were not playing.
Yeah,
it's more like people don't trust either one of these teams to.
And also, the Giants lit y'all up at home with Jackson Dart with a rookie quarterback. Y'all had to make a miraculous comeback against a bad defense. You will not play a bad defense in the second round of the playoffs.
That is true. That is true. I don't have any shout outs this week. I'm a little low on the shout outs this week.
No shout out to Trae Young.
No, well, shout out to him leaving. Yeah, I'm happy that he's gone. Look, I mean, here's the thing: the Trae Young situation, man. It's what's wild to me, Ace, is Trae Young and Luka have both now been traded away from those two teams that traded for them on the draft night.
I bet you Atlanta people are like, why couldn't we have traded for Luka? Why did we trade Luka?
And that is just so ridiculous.
Just 8
like
years.
If Atlanta had Luka right now, they'd still be Luka would still be on this team. And he's not. So
and they'd be they would be expected to go to the finals every year.
Yeah.
You're talking about a Hawks Celtics rivalry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But my main shout out, and I know I just trashed on the Pittsburgh Steelers and figured that they're going to lose this game, but my big shout out there would be for Mike Tomlin.
Aaron Rodgers didn't bring him down, so
Aaron Rodgers didn't bring him down. He was able to continue to parlay himself into another season, another 10-win season.
If they win a playoff game, do you give him a contract extension?
Absolutely. I think you give him a contract. Look, if nothing else, he's always going to put you guys in a position to be successful. You know that.
Yeah.
If you give him just competent play at the quarterback position, which is what he got, competent play at the quarterback position, he's winning the division.
So next year you bring in Kirk Cousins.
I mean, no.
You win the Super Bowl.
I mean, competent play. I don't know. But the real reason why I shout out Mike Tomlin is because did you see the post-game interview that he did after the Baltimore game? So I think the question was asked of him about the kicker, not making the kick.
Oh, Luke, yeah.
Tyler Luke not making the kick, and and what are his thoughts about like that situation? If he makes the kick, that's what it was. Yeah. They were like, how close you guys were to losing. If he makes the kick, you guys are out of the playoffs. How did you feel about that or whatever? And his response was, if it's something to the effect of, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. It's like,
That's why people in Pittsburgh love him, because he's not
I don't
politically
feel
correct as
anything
he
about
would.
it.
That is so silly.
It just is what it is. It
That is such an
happens.
unk
It's the
answer.
game. It's the game. It happens. And guess what? There's always a bunch of ifs and stuff in sports and whatever.
Yeah.
It was a great quote,
If my
and
aunt
I gave
had
him a
balls,
shout
she'd
out.
be my uncle.
Something to that effect.
I love
I
it.
can't. I'm paraphrasing.
All
Oh, and
right,
the last
coach.
one. Speaking of which, speaking of interesting quotes, Jamar Chase being salty about the Cleveland Browns stopping the game on Myles Garrett's
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And the coach
sack,
too. Who
but
cares?
him being salty to the point where he
It's not like y'all
says
going to the playoffs if y'all win.
no, but to the point where he says he's like, all right, so when I do something, he says when I do something spectacular to the field, I'm stopping the whole game. And I said, you know what?
Brother,
That's a man out of my heart, because that's what I would do. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay,
get
I'm gonna be
160 catches in a game. We'll talk. And season.
I'm gonna go full. Hey, he gets a 2,000-yard season. Go full TO. Walk to the center of the damn field. Spike the ball. Do a dance, and make everybody look at you. Because
Oh
you know
man.
what? They let Myles Garrett do it on my field, so damn it, I'm doing it on theirs. So, but yeah, shout out to those two guys, man.
Oh
Good stuff
man.
overall. A lot of fun. Wish my Lions were in it, but we're not. Um,
Yeah.
but I get to enjoy the playoffs just nonetheless. So either way.
All right. Headed into basketball season to the end of the playoffs. Come on, Miami. Good defense. We out. Peace.
Peace.